Use it. I'm over here.
No.
Use it. This one's light too.
Yeah, there's balloon.
There you go.
No. Oh. But if I want to push it strong, I would make it go all the way up to the top. Hell no. This is just this.
You guys okay? You want to open the door in the back? Okay? Will you open it? No, it's okay. You guys?
Yeah.
That is okay. Open the door in the back.
Yeah.
The majority, open or leave it like that.
I don't care.
So what you guys prefer? Open the door or leave it like that? All right. Okay. You get it on. Oh, you want to let it open?
How you training? You?
Yeah, good.
Hey, G.
What's up, man?
How you doing, man?
Good, good, you?
All right. Hella out of shape. Trying to get back in shape.
That's the hard part of the game.
I know.
Bluetooth.
All right.
Connected.
How do I express this? I've never expressed this, but how do I start?
Let's take them back.
I was never able to understand the concept of greatness. As time went on and I've gotten older and I've met many journeys on people that I met on my journey and people who I read about on my journey. I read that greatness in itself doesn't come with goodness. The two don't coexist with one another. I spent all my life trying to become great because I had such a low self-esteem. And I realized late in life, well, I'll say I'm 47, but late in my life, that all great men are not good men. And then so I tried to embark on a whole different career and try to become good. But what's the concept of good? Being a floor mat, I never understood the concept of good. And the concept of good is pretty much then, I must be a politician, because politicians are always striking for goodness and always trying to win votes from people. And only reason that we win votes because they believe that we're good. So how do we live in those two dimensions at once? You want that greatness for self-gratification, but you want goodness from a human perspective. And I really have no idea, no clue how do I juggle both of them and be in harmony. And then in all actuality, they don't exist. You have to pick a side.
Keep the head down when you come up with the H. Keep your head down. Yeah, I mean, it's not coming up, but starting to come up. To make it perfect. It's good, but it's not perfect.
I respect a person who's willing to die for what he truly wants. Even if it's love, even if it's a woman, whatever it is that he truly believes in, and that he believes that it transcends him to that level to demand for love, for instance. I look at love as a command to just rise to your greatest potential, you know, and that's how people should feel. Their objective should be to rise to their best potential in life. If it's to lose 30 pounds, if it's to pass a test, it should be to win a fight, to be admired by people all over the world. It should allow you to rise to your greatest potential, that you look at yourself in the most grandest fashion. The value of history is not necessarily scientific but moral. By liberating our minds and deepening our sympathies and fortifying our will, we can control pretty much. History allows us to control not society but ourselves, which is a much more important thing to do. You know what I mean? And it would allow us to pretty much meet the future more so than foretell it. And for that reason alone, that we always have to, in order to predict the future, we have to always look through the past, because very rarely does time not repeat itself, and it always will repeat itself. I've heard a quote before in the book that we would be fools to think historically that the past is us in funny clothes, but the past is us in funny clothes. And that's truly what it is. That's somebody that really said a really profound statement, but he misquote what he was saying. He must have been saying it backwards, because that's really what the past was. It's just us in funny clothes in different times. That's really what it is.
Is boxing for you really about revenge?
No, it's just that, I never take my losses personally, because I didn't take it personal. I'm not trying to even the score. I'm moving on to other places, which are probably dark and places I've never been before, but I'm not afraid to go there. I'm not afraid to lose in life. I'm not afraid to do anything. I won't do anything. Matter of fact, I won't do anything. Matter of fact, like my show, there's nothing I would do unless I have possibility of being humiliated. If I can't be humiliated, if I fail, I don't want to do it. Because only by doing that, I would rise to my highest potential. Because when I succeed, I truly succeed. I'm a fucking student of war. I know all the warriors from Charlemagne, Achilles, the #1 warrior of all warriors. From then Alexander, Napoleon, I know them all. I read them all, I studied them all. I know the art of fight, I know the art of war. That's all I ever studied. That's why I'm so feared. That's why they feared me when I was in the ring. Because I was an annihilator. That's all I was born for. Now those days are gone. It's empty. I'm nothing. I'm working on being the art of humbleness. Can you believe in me? That's the reason why I'm crying, because I'm not that person no more. And I miss them. Because sometimes I feel like a bitch. Because I don't want that person to come out, because if he comes out, hell is coming with him.
I was gonna rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children.
My mother's she's a Southern woman from the Virginia area, and this is what I found out later. And I only can remember for a small period of, real small increment of my life that I lived in Bedford-Stuyvesant in the early middle 70s. Eventually, we had to move. We were evicted. We had to leave the house. All of our furniture was really politely decorated the concrete outside. So we had me and my brother, I guess we had to sit on the furniture to wait till my mother can get a place for us to stay. And it was just after that, it was pretty much hard times, welfare. When we moved to Brownsville, which was a much more aggressive neighborhood. And it just wasn't good. It was just crime-infested, drug-infested neighborhood. And it was very aggressive. And my mother knew a lot of men. Her and her friends knew a lot of men. It wouldn't be abnormal for me to come from one of my friends' houses, to come from outside a man and a woman is in one of my mother's room, or my mother's in a room with a man and a woman, and we can't go in the room, but we have to stay outside in the kitchen, perhaps, or the living room, and we can't go in the back of the room until they're finished. And that's just how our life's been. And as time went on, I've learned to while people were in the back, that I would, and they fell asleep, I would go in their pockets and take their money. And that's just how it's been. That's just what it was all about. I learned how to steal at a young age. When my mother's friends were in her house, they were drinking. I learned to go in their house from the fire escape and rob their house while they were downstairs drinking with my mother. And that's just what I learned to do in my life. I was born with great perception. It came from my street life, from being locked up for stealing and facing unbelievable odds as a young kid. I had great perception. And once I watched these guys fight, I just knew it was a matter of time, but I knew my time would soon come. I knew I would obtain my goal before it existed. I knew that. I knew I would be champ of the world before I died. I knew I wasn't going to die before I became champ. You know, dying is just as glorious as living when you really think about it, because you couldn't have a life if you didn't have death, and you couldn't have death without life. So how could death be less glorious than life? They're both intertwined with one another. Yeah, they used to bully me in school. And so I never went back to school. So when my mother used to send me to school, I would just be hanging around the school, walking around the school. And if normally we have security guards, the truants officer that see me, I would take off and run, or hide in a building, abandon the building. But normally, my mother knew I wasn't going to school. Then I met some guys one day, and they pursued to ripping me off, and they realized I didn't have no money. But on lunchtime, I used to go in school and eat lunch, and then leave school again. So, especially when they had meatballs and spaghetti. So, one time these guys, they wanted to rip me off, and I didn't have no money, so they asked me, "Do you want to fly birds with me?" So I said, "What do you mean?" They said, "You want to fly with us?" And then I realized that they took me to this abandoned building, but they wanted me to get my milk. The milk, climb the fence and throw milk crates over to them. And I didn't understand why they wanted the milk crates, but I did it anyway, because I was kind of scared. And then they took me to this abandoned building. I didn't know what they were going to do to me in that building, you know. So when I went up there, I saw on the roof they had pigeons. And then after that, I never went to school again. Once I found that I had a pigeon coop, and I could be these guys' flunkies and go to the store for them. And if the birds were horrible, they were in horrible conditions. So the birds would fly for a little while, and then they'd land on another roof, and then make me get up and go on that roof, sure, and get the birds off the roof. So I would go to all these roofs that the lady birds flew on and scare the birds off, hoping that they would go back to the roof where the guys were. And I thought that was pretty cool, because I felt wanted, because at least somebody wanted me to do something for them. So the next day, instead of going back around, walking around school, I went to the pigeon coop. And the guy saw me, and he said, "Excuse me, young man." They said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And they started throwing bricks at me, and while they were on the roof. And I said, hey, I just came around to see you guys need me to do anything for y'all today, like help with the birds or go to the store for you, that's all. But they had thought that I was coming back around to steal their birds. And I had no concept of stealing birds back then. I just wanted some place to hang out instead of walking around the streets all day, and some weird guy be asking me to get in the car and suck their dick or let them suck my dick or something when I was outside just waiting for school to come out or waiting for the lunch to appear. So I would be on the roof with these guys who I didn't know, who might have killed me also, right? So they said, yeah, go, and then they throw down someone, go to the store and get some cigarettes and get a knee-high soda. After throwing bricks at me, you know, and so I go upstairs, and so the guys go like this. School is over and stuff, but they tell me, we're going to the center tonight. We're going to go to the after-school center. This is where, I don't know, the poverty-stricken people that live in the projects, they have a center there, a youth center, and they go there and they're playing music. They got a jam in the center, so we're going to go to the center. And so, oh man, I don't believe I'm saying it. So I said, okay, I want to go too. Can I go? And I said, okay, yeah, sure, you can come. But I'm a young kid. I had no concept of you had to wash. Yeah, and so when I went to the center, I said, oh, fuck. I still had the bird shit on me from that. So I still have the bird shit and all the stuff, the tar and stuff from being in the pigeon coop, helping them build the coop. So, you know, we have tar paper, so we have to put the tar paper in the coop. When we go back, I never went home and washed. I just had the same clothes I had on. And when I went there, the kids that was on the roof that brought me to the roof, they all had new clothes on. And they all laughed at me. And everybody started laughing at me, and I was scared and embarrassed. I started laughing too. And one of the guys that was on the roof, he had said, what the fuck, you dirty little motherfucker? What you come around here looking like that? Don't you ever wash? And he said, you better meet me at the roof. Meet me tomorrow, motherfucker. Meet me at the roof with the birds where you met me today. Even though that guy wasn't his pigeons, but he was there. He was looking for one of those other guys' brothers. He was older. He said, meet me at the roof. You hear me, shorty? Meet me at the fucking pigeon. Where you were today? And I'm a schmuck. I'm like, yo, schmucko. So I met him early in the morning, just like when you're going to school. So I met him at the pigeon coop. And from then on, me and him started robbing houses. Because I was younger than him, so he would tell me to ring the doorbell, knock on the door. And if someone comes over, say you're looking for this guy, he'll give me a Jewish name or something. He'll give me some name. He just knew what to say, the right stuff and what neighborhoods. And I didn't know. And then they found out nobody was there. He would pick the locks. He would have the kids pick the locks. We would go in there. We would find money, guns, jewelry. It was just wow. It was just such a rush being in somebody's house and you see that luxury there and it's yours. And he didn't give me much money, but he bought me a lot of nice-looking clothes. And he said, you go back to the center looking like this. Don't forget, you hear me, motherfucker? You go looking like this. And then I went to that center, and then it was a whole different, it was totally different. And they used to call me Dirty Mike, Dirty Ike, and it wasn't because I had bad clothes. I always had the best clothes, but I always was on the pigeon coop, and I always got them dirty and tar, and I would never change my clothes and wear. I would never do that. I would never change my clothes to put on some raggedy clothes and be seen in raggedy clothes because I'd been traumatized from that experience when I went to the daycare center, after school center. So I would always just wear my nice clothes in the pigeon coop and they would always get dirty and I would just go home and change some new nice clothes. You know, just till this day I'm the same way. I always make sure that I have nice clothes on no matter wherever I go. If I'm playing with pigeons, if I'm playing soccer, if I'm taking out the garbage. And it's just, it's just always been a scar on me since them guys just humiliated me that day. Because even though I was a street kid and I was like a tough kid, I never had an ego. I was never really jealous of anybody. I never really thought much of myself. But when I met Cuss and I started talking to Cuss, he made me believe that I was a god. He made me believe that, for instance, Cuss would say this. Now, to Cuss would say, now you hear this? Because Cuss had he had this really megalomaniac ego. He said, let me tell you something. All the prophets, all the gods you ever know about, if they had a son, their son couldn't beat my fighter. Know why? Because he's my fighter. I remember I was a young kid and I was getting put on the front cover of maybe Ring magazine at the time, a big-time magazine it was. Could have been Sports Illustrated, but one of these magazines, I got put on the magazine, and there was a bunch of cameras around there, and I was feeling myself. I was smiling, laughing with the guys like I was a big shot, and then right after that, Cuss said, grab the broom and mop and sweep, clean the gym. And whoa, and that's just what I had to do. You know, I just knew my place with him. I just knew my place, you know. Like things I would say with other people, I would never say with him. He would only have to call me one time and I would be there. It was never like, hey, be there in a minute. I wanted to make Cuss proud. That was my whole existence for fighting. I wanted to make him proud. I never knew what it was like to have a fighter. A father. So now I understand what some kids must feel when they can't make their fathers happy. Because he would do anything for me. I was just, I don't think that way now. I was just disappointed that I didn't kill them back then. That was just my main objective because I wanted to succeed so bad, and I failed, and the fear of not succeeding was worse than dying. So I just wanted to make sure they never got up. At any fight, if someone said something negative about me, he was an old man, he would attack them. He wouldn't let nobody allow any negativity to even seep through my psyche. You know, everything was that I'm invincible, I'm a savage, I'm ferocious, I'm the smartest savage. I don't even think that way anymore. He believed fighting was your opponent's surrender, his total destruction. And he didn't think of it as, even though he said it was savage and ferociously, you had to do it in such a relaxed and calm state, you know, without any emotions. That's what he was all about, you know what I mean? A really scientific way of destroying people. He enjoyed hurting the opponent. He wanted them to never have a chance to believe they can beat you. You know, it wasn't about anything. Our whole life wasn't about making money. It wasn't about being rich. It was about, and nobody on the planet could beat us. That was everything. My whole life, he said, best fight in the world, best fight in the world. There's nobody on the planet that could beat me. I could beat anybody on the planet in a fair fight, and that's what I always believed. You know, I don't even think about that now, but just to be in that state of mind, I could be anybody that, one day I said this, and well, I'm so happy that I don't think that way anymore. I was having an interview, and I started thinking about Cuss, because Cuss is pretty, you know, arrogant. And Cuss said, and I said one of Cuss words. I said, I was being interviewed, and I said, how many people in this planet? I said, what? Around 5 billion people, 6 billion. I said I could beat every one of them in a fair fight, and that's what I believed at the time. But this guy always told me, he says, I'm allowing my mind to get the better of me. Your mind, you don't have your mind on your work. You're not being disciplined. He really knew that. He always believed that his mind could heal anything. He believed if he had cancer, his mind could heal cancer. He was a strong believer that your body only purpose was to carry your brain. And, you know, he was just amazing, man. I respect a person who's willing to die for what he truly wants, even if it's love, even if it's a woman, whatever it is that he truly believes in, and that he believes that it transcends him to that level to demand for love. For instance, I look at love as a command to just rise to your greatest potential. You know, and that's how people should feel. Their objective should be to rise to their best potential in life. If it's to lose 30 pounds, if it's to pass a test, it should be to win a fight. to be admired by people all over the world. It should allow you to rise to your greatest potential, that you look at yourself in the most grandest fashion. I've never, I was never able to understand the concept of greatness. I just never was able to understand that concept of greatness. And as time went on and I've gotten older and I've met many journeys on people that I met on my journey and people who I've read about on my journey. I read that all greatness, the majority of greatness in itself doesn't come with goodness. The two don't coexist with one another. And I spent all my life trying to become great because I had such a low self-esteem. And I realized late in life, well, I'll say I'm 47, but late in my life, that all great men are not good men. And then so I tried to embark on a whole different career and try to become good. But what's the concept of good? Being a floor mat, I never understood the concept of good. So how do we live in those two dimensions at once? You want that greatness for self-gratification, but you want goodness from a human perspective. And I really have no idea, no clue how do I juggle both of them and be in harmony. And then in all actuality, they don't exist. You have to pick a side. The lion and the fox. You know what I mean? I could beat the vicious guys and I could outsmart the slicksters. So I was pretty much didactyl in that apartment pretty much. But what really was the turning point is that there was nobody that could reach the core like Cus could. No one could inspire me. I don't know. I don't think it's that amazing. The things I say, I don't think it's as profound as what many people may think is profound. I just think it's my feelings of what I felt at the particular moment. You know, and I always had a very complex life, and I never had a good psychological opinion about myself, and that's because of my upbringing and my view on my life and my view of just my whole barometer as a person. And so I never grasped that love of that particular identity of myself. I gave my whole fight, and it's time to give it up. It's time to stop and let go and let God. I did all I can do humanly, and now it's time for me to let God lead the way. I say, well, I'm responsible now. I have to be present for my family and my children. But when that feeling comes, you have no control over it. I might want to die tomorrow, and that's just what it is. And that's how my mind works. Maybe something may happen. I might get into an argument with my wife. Something might happen. I might want to die tomorrow, and I might want to live, but I might have killed myself already. So I don't know how that goes. Maybe I want to die because I want to know what it's like to die. I want to know if it's just dark, like when you have one of those dead sleeps and you wake up and you wouldn't know if you were dead or not if you didn't wake up. So I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I just know right now I want to live and experience life, and I don't know what life has in store for me, but I'm not afraid to find out. I'm not trying to even the score. I'm moving on to other places which are probably dark and places I've never been before, but I'm not afraid to go there. I'm not afraid to lose in life. I'm not afraid to do anything. I won't do anything. Matter of fact, I won't do anything. Matter of fact, like my show, there's nothing I would do unless I have a possibility of being humiliated. If I can't be humiliated, if I fail, I don't want to do it. Because only by doing that, I would rise to my highest potential with the fact that I might be humiliated, and I don't want that to happen. But when it does happen, then I will truly be humiliated. Because when I succeed, I truly succeed. And that's why I'm here with you. I've always sought comfort from my pigeons, no matter where I live. I always have them, and I've collected special breeds of pigeons. They're called roller pigeons. Sir Anthony Hopkins played Hannibal Lecter. In that great movie, he talked about them. Do you know that a roller pigeon is? You know what a roller pigeon is, Barney? They climb high and fast, and they roll over and fall, just as fast towards the earth. There are shallow rollers, and there are deep rollers. You can breed 2 deep rollers, or the young roller will roll all the way down and hit and die. It is no surprise that I have an affinity for rollers. It is really something to watch. Them fly higher, and then all the other birds. They fly higher than all the other birds, way up on the top of the sky, and way in the clouds, and they just roll and roll and roll down. And if they're lucky, they pull out in time before they crash and head first into the ground. Rollers who are the offspring of 2 pairs of deep rollers can do that. They roll so fast that they create a suction, and they can't open their wings. And if they explode on impact, it looks horrific to us. But if we put ourselves into the heart of that bird, there's nothing like that feeling, plummeting down and rolling. It is a smorgasbord of endurance and endorphins, and a dopamine and adrenaline, and a little like snorting coke and drinking Hennessy while being hooked up in the morphine drip. Both of my parents were deep rollers. I was bred to climb high and high into the sky and tumble down. I am truly grateful that I found my wings before I hit the ground.
So I know you've been into that kind of shit, like Alexander the Great,
Yeah.
and all the different
Belisarius and all
conquerors.
these guys.
Yeah.
Pippin, Charlemagne, Clovis.
Now, is this stuff that you just studied because you wanted to study conquerors? Did it just interest you?
I wanted to study that mindset. You know, and I found that the greatest conquerors that ever lived were farmers. You know, farmers, sheep herders. Somebody that we wouldn't think that's important and stuff. And then as they became great through that, they gave birth to great children who were born with greatness, like Alexander the Great and stuff. Like Philip the Macedonian, that whole bloodline of Alexander, they were all kings, but they were all very small and insignificant. Until it was one Alexander before him that was pretty great and fought against the Persians, but eventually they lost, and they pretty much kissed the Persians' asses. You know what I mean? The Persians put them in a position of power until Philip Macedonia came, who had the nickname a.k.a. Philip the Barbarian. And he wanted to go across there and enslave all the Persians and everybody after that, the world. And Alexander the Great, mother, who was a really interesting woman, I'm trying to say Albanian maybe, and they had a different kind of study and worship and stuff back then. So he got caught up in that. His family didn't like her for that, but she arranged for Alexander's father, I think, to be killed, for Alexander to have the power. Then her kids had the power, and she could lead through her kids while he was on campaigns, right? And when he was on these campaigns, now that his father was gone, he just conquered everything. But when he ran into the Afghani people, he fell in love with them. He wanted to interbreed with them. He wanted to create a new race of Afghan. He just madly fell in love with them, and that's pretty much why his family, not his family, but the Greeks went mutiny on him because they were jealous that they were giving big positions to the Persians. No, Afghanistan. He loved them. He even quote, "Afghanistan is the most beautiful people in the world. God must have loved them more than anybody. He made them beautiful." He really fell in love with them.
When did you start getting really into like conquerors? When did you
When I
start
was 15.
Really, you're 15?
Yeah.
What introduced you to it?
I was at the table eating with Cuss, and a friend of mine named Craig Ward said a statement which he was wrong, but it sounds really good to make me investigate. He said Alexander the Great at his time was like 6'5", so at 6'5", 300 years before Christ, that was a giant, which was wrong. He was very small. The armor was too big for him. He was a really small guy. He wasn't big at all.
And so just that alone, him saying that, got you interested
Yeah,
in
I
Alexander
thought he was
the
a monster. He was a massive guy, but then I found out he's just a small man, average guy. You know, he's not a monster at all, not a big man at all.
But you got interested in the mindset of the conquerors.
Yeah. Well, listen, this is what I want to know. Why would one person think that he could fucking own the whole world? One person. Why would he have that mind? Who would think like that?
Right.
Why would that's not a fucking person. That's just something when your egos just got so out of whack.
Yeah.
Where you just can't think rational. How do you think like that? And you're a nice person. It was a guy before him, a couple of hundred years before him, named Cyrus the Great. He was just like, he was a conqueror, but he was a conqueror for liberty. He wanted to conquer all the slaves and let them go. Conquer all the slave masters, let them go. He got killed for that too, but can you imagine who the hell, maybe that sounds cool too, right?
Yeah.
That's good, that's a good thing. But listen, think about it. Who the fuck is he to take somebody else's property, take somebody else's stuff because he believes it's wrong, which it probably is wrong. I think it's wrong, but who the fuck is he?
Right.
Who is this guy to take others, just to conquer you? You don't bother nobody, but this is what they did back then. Now you're killing everybody. Back then, it was really legal. It's almost in the Bible. It's in the books. It's not, I won't say it, but it's in books. Slavery is in the books, in the religious books that we need slaves, and he did this. And this guy's going to say, hey, no more slaves. He's 500 BC, so he's going to say no more slaves. No more. Slavery is wrong out through the whole world. So he wants to conquer the world and free all the slaves.
Wow.
So that's just a different mindset.
Yeah, they're different kinds of mindsets that these conquerors had.
But who he think he is? Who the hell is he? He has his little town over here. How he's gonna go over the whole world? His town is right here. Well, forget his town. His country is right here.
Yeah.
You know? And he haven't even conquered his country yet. Now he's gonna conquer the world and liberate freedom, make freedom. What kind of guy? Now that's nothing. If that's not somebody on drugs, you tell me. No, you tell me. Now be honest. If that's not somebody high, you tell me.
It could be coke.
No, that nigga, it's something. It's something. And I'm gonna free everybody.
Right.
This is at 500 BC. This is slavery is what it is. This is the way of the world. No, I'm gonna free all the slaves.
That's pretty crazy.
I'm gonna free everybody.
What did you get out of like reading about their mindset, like studying Temujin, studying Alexander the Great? Like, what did you get out of reading about their mindsets?
I found out that the greatest ones, the best, the most prolific ones, were all mama's boys.
Really?
Yeah, afraid of their mother.
Wow.
Napoleon, Alexander. You know what I mean?
Wow. Genghis Khan too?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think that is?
Huh?
What do you think that's all about?
Highly respect their mother. I think I think their mothers were the first, especially Alexander the Great. I think she was the first stage mother. I think there was some before her too. You know, because Cleopatra was one. That's just what they were. At the end of the time, they were wanted to lead through their sons or their daughters or something like that.
Oh, okay. Like that parent that takes their kids to athletic events and screams and cheers and pumps them up and
No. It's the parent whose child word is law, and I want to be able to have that word.
Okay.
Do you get that?
Yeah.
My son is the king
Right.
of this country, or a couple of countries, but I want my thought to be in his mouth, come out of his mouth.
Do you think the parents convinced the child that they were that special that they should run the world?
Some of them do, but as some kids get older, like Ivan the Great, Ivan the Terrible, they get older and then they realize these people weren't right towards me, and they start killing his sponsors or the people that were rep his step-parents and stuff. You know, some of the kings did it too. You know.
So when you were studying this, when you were coming up as a boxer and you're studying all these conquerors, you were trying to understand their mindsets.
Yeah.
And you were trying to apply that to your own life?
Pretty much, yeah.
Did you get anything out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What did you get? Like how did it apply to your own life?
Well, at the end of the day, they all ask God for forgiveness. All of them.
So when you're reading all these books about all these conquerors, when you're a young man and you're on your way to becoming the youngest ever heavyweight champion, and you're trying to take on the mindset of the conquerors, and you find out they all ask God for forgiveness.
Yes.
How did that affect you?
That was pretty cool, because by that, I learned greatness was the willingness to die. By, doing research on these particular individuals. And that's what they were willing to do for greatness.
Can't forget about the sushi, baby.
And you
heard about Achilles and stuff. He what did he want? A short life of greatness than a long life of obscurity.
Yeah.